You know how the best movies around are always the sequels, like Jaws 2, Speed 2, The Next Karate Kid, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? Well, get ready for part 2 of Blackout Ops. Welcome back, everyone. The situation's pretty dire. We made 32.5 kilowatt hours yesterday. Today we made 5. And we burnt through it's going to be about 15 or so by the end of the night. And tomorrow is mostly overcast with rain. So here's the bad news. 43% left on the Powerwalls. So I estimate we'll have about 15% remaining by sunrise tomorrow. I don't know if we're gonna make it past day 4. Alright, morning of day 4, Powerwalls are about 17%. That's like 4 or 5 kilowatt hours. That'll last us 8 or 10 hours if we're lucky. That's pretty dire. So the rain should stop today. We should be getting a little bit of sunlight. We really need 15 more kilowatt hours today. Would take us to tomorrow morning, late morning, when we should have some real sun. I don't think we're gonna get 15 kilowatt hours today. We'll see. This might be over today. All right, it's almost 2 p.m. Day 4. We might make it. It takes 60% roughly of the Powerwall to last 24 hours, and we've got 40%, so I think we're going to make it till day 5 when the sun comes up again. It's been a real nail-biter.
Where's your helmet, Dad? The helmet hurt you. Where's your helmet?
So yeah, we got hail for day 4. We also got enough sun to get us up to about 80% by sunset, which means we'll be continuing into day 5. We actually got record sun on the 5th day. Charged the Powerwalls up all the way and started recharging the cars. The Model Y drove like 60 or 80 miles this day, so didn't really get it charged up too much. So day 5, 6, and 7 was all actually the same. It was nice and sunny, the Powerwalls charged up all the way around noon, and the remaining power, which there was about 10 or 20 kilowatt hours, went into the cars, which is enough for 40 to 80 miles of range between the two cars. So really at this point it's game over. There's no point in continuing. As long as the weather isn't horribly bad for multiple days, we can go on infinitely, fairly comfortably on solar power alone. There's a few things I've learned here, which is the batteries just aren't large enough in the Powerwalls. If we had double the size, we could last for 4 or 5 days if there was snowfall that continued all week. It would be really convenient if the 150 kilowatt hours or so in the cars was accessible instead of just being a one-way power dump. I think that's something that might be remedied in the Cybertruck when it comes out next year. So trying this next year would be interesting when we have another 200 kilowatt hours or so of Powerwalls, basically. But I think that's all I'm going to do, because there's no point in continuing on here. Learned a whole lot. I might try again in winter when there's 15 or 20 kilowatt hours a day of sunlight instead. And I think it's also important to note that in a real emergency we would turn off the breakers to most of the house, leave the furnace running in the winter, leave the refrigerator running. We were leaching 500 watts constantly every hour with just vampire drain. So if it was a real emergency, we could make this last for weeks or months easily, even with no sun for days. Big shout out to my wife for putting up with me walking around in the middle of the night with pruning shears and staging photos, and tolerating being off the grid for nearly a week. If you have any questions about solar power or Tesla Powerwalls, feel free to drop a comment down below and I'll try my best to answer it. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.